So today is a review of the RAAL Immanis. You can see here, this is the Immanis itself. It's golden color. It looks really fabulous and beautiful. Very nice workmanship here. And it is a very expensive headphone itself. Before I start, let's thank SLT Technologies and Sean, who actually loaned me this particular headphone to give you guys a review and of course, try out myself. Now, I'm offered also to purchase this, but well, this unit I have here is loan and they didn't tell me what to do with it. Just have a listen, and if I like it, I can actually buy it. Now, this is a demo set. If I want to buy it, it will be a slightly different one. Of course, it's the version that is more for retail. This is a version just purely for demo. I'm not sure whether you can see it, but it's written on the headband here. So, without wasting time, let's talk a little bit about the RAAL Immanis. Now, this is a very expensive headphone. I just want to start off first. This is 10,000 Sing dollars. And it goes up to 14,000 Sing dollars. Now in USD, I believe that's about 7,000 USD, all the way to about 10,000 USD. It is a very expensive headphone, but depending on what you want, the price do change accordingly. So this version that was loaned to me is the full package version, which I will bring you guys through here. I will talk about the headphone more later, but let me talk about the accessories that are given. Firstly, there is a carrying case. The carrying case is pretty big. I got a photo here I can show you. But you just need to know that the carrying case is provided regardless of which version of the Immanis you purchase, be it just the headphone with the wire or the full set itself. So the case is always given. So this is the transformer. This is the new version that comes with the Immanis. You can see a ribbon current drive interface. This is a very, very heavy piece of equipment. It has input and output. Now, the previous version is just a box. I don't have it on hand now, but that box itself has some options. You can actually drive it with 32 ohms, 16 ohms, or you can actually even get the speaker version. While the new version here just can be driven only from headphones, amplifiers, and it is only 32 ohms, which is fine. I mean, 32 ohms is a very good standard one. You can see here, this is how it's built. It is very nice. Unlike the previous box, this is actually designed to also be a headphone stand, and you can screw this out. As you can see, I'm screwing it out, and then you get the item itself. But it is a good option that is given to you. Now, as part of the package, you can actually purchase the wire here too. This is the Star 8 wire. There are two wires available. One is the Star 8, the other one is the standard cable. From what I understand, the Immanis do not allow you to select a package with the standard cable. So if you do want a standard cable, you have to purchase it from the RAAL Requisite site, and it fits perfectly fine. Now, the difference between this and the standard cable is that this is silver. I believe this is silver cable, while the standard cable is copper. Both of them are extremely low resistance, which is very important, and they do change the sound slightly. Personally, after trying, I do prefer the copper cable than the silver cable, but it is a personal preference. There is some difference in soundstage and size, but for today's review, it will be mainly based on the silver cable, because this is the package that most of you guys will actually get. Unless you are like me, you own the CA1A or the SR1A or SR1B before, you will probably be buying the cable with the headphones themselves. We talk about the headphones. As I said, this is a really well-built headphone. This is of course not real wood, this is a veneer, and then underneath it is actually, I believe, a glass fiber cup. But you can see everything else is just beautiful. Nice metal headband, really, really solid. You can see that it's twisted, and then you can see all these areas here that are used to mount the leather itself. And you can see even that the leather headband itself has some stitching, this brown or gold stitching here adds a bit of luxury to it. And you can see from the side here, the grills. This is the grills. They are really beautiful, very nicely made grills. And you can see that the ear cups are really huge. I mean, these ear cups here are easily the same size as the ZMF ones, or even maybe slightly bigger than ZMF ones. And then for the pads themselves, these are the pads here. They are very nice and plush. There's some velvet on top and then leather inside, and then this is perforated leather outside. And then you can see the driver inside. Now the driver you can see here, this is a triple ribbon driver headphone. So this is quite different. The previous one are like single drivers. They are bigger single drivers. This is triple smaller drivers, but the total area of drivers for this particular Immanis is still nearly twice those of the CA1A, so it is a lot more driver area compared to the previous headphones themselves. Now, one thing I do like for this headphone is you can see the jacks here. This is how forward the jack is. If I was to align it with the band on top, the jack you can see here is really forward. This is like ultra forward. If you see, this is the line. Let me align it properly for you guys. See, now this is the headband. It's aligned up. You can see the jack is here. So the jack is actually very forward facing, and the good thing is that you will never have a case where the cables touch your shoulders, which is a problem I face when using, say, the Warwick Bravura. This one doesn't have it, so it is a very good clearance. Even though the headphone is big, the cables are going to be big and long, it doesn't give you any discomfort. This is one of the most comfortable headphones you can wear, at least at a flagship level especially. It is a bit heavy, but other than that, very comfortable to wear, very nice, very luxurious. Overall, I think that in terms of build quality, you are not losing anything for this build. In fact, this is the best built flagship headphone I ever used. I mean, if the DCA series of headphones are like technological excellence when it comes to build quality, and then when you have ZMF, which is like very nice, you know, more of the old style but comfortable solid builds, this is just pure industry level heavy duty build. I mean, pure metal and things that probably will never spoil in their life. Now, this is it for the headphones when it comes to build quality. Let's talk a little bit on the sound itself. Now, the sound quality, well, I just want to keep it very short for this online video here. If you are more interested to read up, I did post it on my website or in Head5, where you can read up more on the details of the description. Why I had to keep it short for video here? Because it's just me talking, so it's going to be not, or should I say, very hard to follow, right? First, I think that the overall sound is more of the neutral sound. This is really neutral, very natural sounding. If there's any tint, there's only a very slight tint of warmth. This is the general tonality of the sound itself. There is no emphasis on any frequency that I notice. It is good bass, good mids, and good highs. No particular emphasis, though I do say that their mids are a little bit better than other headphones, while their highs are okay, their bass are okay. I'm talking about flagship level okay, not normal level okay, but the mids are really very nice here. Now, when it comes to the soundstage, this is a very big sounding headphone. When it comes to the size of it, it will not lose to the old CA1A, making it one of the largest sounding headphone you can get in the market here. I do think that the Abyss 1266, when you're looking at the very edge of the sound, the Abyss 1266 is slightly wider, but this one, yes, you just lose a touch wideness in the sound, but you get a lot bigger in the front, back, and more three-dimensional size, and it stretches almost as wide as the 1266 too. So soundstage is fabulously large. Now, separation of the sound is pretty good. All the layers are there, the instruments are separated, especially when you hear bass. Bass is very well separated here. The bass guitar, the drums, and all the other bass instruments that may be in a track, they are well separated and very textured in this headphone here. This is something that a lot of headphones tend to muddle up, especially at the bass level. So bass detail, bass texture is very good here. Separation on general is just very nice. I mean, even the treble part is not a very hot and spicy type of headphone. As such, when the treble do play, you can always hear it very clearly, very cleanly, and they are very distinct. That is the good thing of this headphone here. Mids, no complaint, just fantastic here. Now, when it comes to positioning, however, I think that the positioning is not the greatest when it comes to isolating the location of the sound. It feels very similar to what I experienced in the CA1A, where there are big blobs in front of you and the instruments are in these big blobs. You know that they are far left, mid left, left, center, right, mid right, far right kind of thing. But to precisely tell where the sound is, I think this is not like the best itself. The best I have ever heard is the Verite closed with a Mesh Combo amplifier. It sounds really precise, the signature itself. And of course, when I hear like DCA Stealth together with the Enlem M, I also get a very precise, soundstage and positioning. This one, I don't get the precise positioning, but still a very big sound itself. And I think the directional part of things are still relatively good, just not pinpoint precise. As I said once again, in terms of bass, pretty good. In terms of mids, fantastic. In terms of highs, a bit smoother and extended. Overall, very high-end sound itself for a flagship headphone. There is one more thing I talk about is dynamics. Dynamics in this headphone is also really, really good. From the quietest point to the loudest point, this headphone drives it with a very nice, punchy and dynamic sound that's very exciting to listen. If you listen to rock tracks like from Ado, Backlight and stuff, you know, this is great. Ado, Fonde, rock style music, this headphone will drive it really well. But you know, it doesn't like make it any worse off when you play other genres. So even with any genre, be it pure vocals, pure singing style, or even pure soundtracks like The Wish from Mercury, One Winged Angel, that kind of soundtracks, this still plays really good. I mean, this really can play almost any music I throw at it with ease, with quality, with good dynamics, and with a very big soundstage. I think sound quality is just fabulous here. Now, if I was to compare this headphone with other headphones, let me show you some photo here. I have compared it with the Abyss 1266. I do think that this one has more body. It is also a little bit more enjoyable. The treble is not as sparkly, but it extends nicely and there's air and stuff and smoother, more, I say, it's easier to enjoy than the 1266. And most importantly, it's a lot more comfortable to wear. This, I feel, easily beats the Abyss 1266. The Abyss 1266 only has two things that are better than it, and that is the bass mid-slam. That slam there is slightly, I would say, small, and it's a bit more fun there. And the next thing the 1266 does beat it is soundstage in terms of wideness. It's just slightly wider. Other than that, I think this is a lot more enjoyable. Smoother, warmer, bigger, nicer, clarity, everything, you know, it's just better. The bigger part is when I talk about, you know, front, back, up, down, not left, right. Left, right, Abyss is better. Now, when it comes to like DCA Stealth, this is like the open version of DCA Stealth. To me, this is what Expense should kind of sound like, rather than what it sounds like today. The Stealth is very nice, very balanced, very easy to listen. The only issue is that it's a closed back, so you do have this feeling that there is a I would say as an edge to the sound, and the edge is pretty close to you. You know, it's like an enclosed room, just a very good enclosed room. This one just remove that edge away, that there is no enclosed area, so the sound just leaks off all the way to the end and just diffuses into the atmosphere, you know, kind of feeling. So compared to DCA Stealth, the openness of this headphone and the effortlessness when it drives the sound itself is where it is better than the DCA Stealth. It is also slightly clearer because of the openness of it. It is also slightly clearer itself. But that being said, the DCA Stealth have the advantage of being a closed back, plus it is also slightly better in the bass, in terms of quantity of bass. And when it comes to treble, I do think that the treble on the DCA Stealth is a touch more enjoyable, purely because to me, this one has a little bit of the sibilance, the tss and the tss sound at certain songs, but the DCA Stealth do not have that problem. So I do enjoy the DCA Stealth treble just a bit more, but I still think this is fantastic. Now, when compared to the previous generation of the CA1A, now the CA1A, I would say that it is a more lighter sound. This has a lot more body. The CA1A is just a lot lighter. But that being said, even though it has more body, it's thicker sounding, it still maintains the soundstage, it still maintains the clarity, and it has slightly better separation and positioning too. And the bass also hits harder here. There's a little bit more bass warmth and bass body. So it is overall a better headphone than the CA1A. CA1A is only good for one thing, and that is the really airy sound. If you are looking for the airiest sound, especially for certain female vocals or certain type of soundtrack that, you know, leverages on the airiness of all the instruments, the CA1A just beats the RAAL Immanis here. The Immanis just feels like a full-bodied, very well done version of the CA1A, while the CA1A is totally airy as crazy. It is, to me, a better HD 800S. So that is how I see things, right? Now, that is really it, you know, when it comes to comparison. The last thing I want to cover about the RAAL Immanis is amplification and things that may affect the sound. First, let's talk about this here. I mean, this is the interface. I have both the old interface, the T1B, and the new one here for the purpose of demo. I'll say as they sound similar. So if you do own the OCA1A interface, I would say as if you do not need this, you can save yourself $1,000 and just buy it without the interface itself. It does save you money there. The next thing is cables. Why cables are important for the RAAL series of headphones is because they are ribbon drivers. They have very low impedance. I mean, the headphone is like 0.0, I think 5 impedance or something, really low. The cable actually generates most of the impedance at, I think, 0.2 impedance. Depending on which cable it is, I think they are 0.25 impedance. So the impedance, the sound signature of the cable do carry onto the headphone quite a lot. In fact, the standard cable, which is pure copper, versus the silver cable from the Star 8, I do prefer the standard cable. The standard cable has a bigger sounding, a little bit more diffuse mids itself, but I do like it because it's a little bit more enjoyable, like a big cushion, fluffy cushion that surrounds you. This one just focuses the sound a little bit more, gives you a little bit more energy in the mids itself, but you know, I do prefer the other nature of it using the standard cable. So that is it, you know, the cables do really matter. Now when it comes to amplification, this is the other thing that changes the sound. Because this one requires you to go through the interface itself, most of the headphones that you drive it with will require a little bit more power. It does draw, I'll say as slightly less power than the Abyss and very similar power to the DCA Stealth. At least that's how I feel of it. This is easier to drive than the OCA1A. You can easily power it off 1 to 1.5 watt of power. I mean, they recommend 2 watt of power, but I'll say as 1.5 watt is kind of enough if you're listening to a relatively quiet area and you know your average is like 75 dB, occasional spike to 95 dB kind of things. I don't think there's any issue if you run it with a 1 to 2 watt amplifier. But that said, amplifiers do transfer some of their sound signature onto this interface, so you can try different amplifier for different type of sound. However, for me, the best way to drive this is using the HSA1C. You can see in this photo here, the HSA1C has a very big sound stage. It is a lot smoother. It is a little bit more relaxed in terms of sound. It just makes everything sound more natural, more smooth. And I really love that smoothness with the RAAL itself. I actually tried, you know, using the interface, connecting the HSA1C and directly using the ribbon output from the HSA1C and power this up, and I do prefer the direct output itself. I also tried different amplifiers powering through the interface. I still prefer the HSA1C. Maybe I'm not the target market to aim for a more solid focus mid. I love the slightly diffuse nature, the bigger nature, the smoother nature, and the direct output of the HSA1C just gives me that, you know, while still having the dynamics and stuff. So to me, the best way to power this headphone is through the HSA1C direct ribbon port itself. So overall, I think that if you are looking at flagship level headphone, the RAAL Immanis is something that you should consider. It is really expensive, and if you do not own the previous CA1A, considering the cable, the transformer here, all these will add up to maybe like 13 to 14 Sing dollars, or about 10,000 USD, 9,000 plus USD. Something like this is quite expensive really. But if you are a previous owner of the SR or the CA from RAAL Requisite, then you can actually reuse the cable, reuse the transformer, and just get the headphones, because this headphone is definitely better than whatever that was before. It's easier to wear, more comfortable to wear, and overall just sounds better. To me, this actually sounds better than the Abyss 1266 I have, and it will also sound better than the Susvara, because, I mean, the reason why I don't own a Susvara is because I own the Abyss 1266, and after multiple tries, the Susvara just don't move me enough to purchase it. But this one, I'm actually considering really hard, and I even asked the distributor to just sell me just the headphone itself and the case, nothing else, and he did quote me a price for it, because that is the lowest configuration you can purchase. And in fact, go some of the headphone sites and you can see that you can actually purchase it in that configuration itself. I'm thinking about it still, and if I do purchase it, you will see it on the table more often in my reviews. That's about it for today. I hope you enjoy my review of the RAAL Immanis. This is a fantastic piece of headphone, and if you cannot buy it, doesn't matter. Go to some cam jam, try it out. if you can try it out in the quiet room, I think this is something that will truly show you what is the limit of headphone equipment. Thank you for watching this, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.